Okay. Bhagavad Gita study, chapter 4, verse 21. Okay. Let's find comfort in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Which is the best idea in all the difficulties in life. Okay. This is okay. Verse 21. As long as my eyesight can still allow me to do it, I will do. Okay. Otherwise, after I cannot see anymore, you read and I comment. Okay. Verse 21. One who works without selfish desires, in fully controlled consciousness, giving up all sense of possession, and only performing those activities that are required for the proper maintenance of the body, or performing the activities with his body only, without sense of identification and attachment, never incurs negative reactions, although he engages in activities. This we read already last time. So, giving up the ahankara mamattva, basically. Parigraha means accepting. So one should only accept what is required for the maintenance of the body, and not to try to, do so much more. Of course, we are talking about a society supported by the Vedic principles, so today is not easy. So we might want to put something aside as well for emergencies. But in general, the idea is to give up the desire to find happiness in material achievements, because happiness will never come from material achievements. This is the naked truth. When we stop looking for happiness in the wrong place, we'll find it in the right place, which is the Atman. But anyway, any question here? No, not particularly. Okay, let's continue. Oops, 22. Such person is perfectly, this is better. Such person is perfectly satisfied with whatever he obtains naturally, is free from duality and envy, and is balanced in success and failure. Although engaged in activities, he is never bound by them. So again, balance in success and failure, just doing his duty, whatever comes, whatever God sends, I'm happy about it. I'm free from duality and envy. I'm doing okay. (23) One who has finished with all associations, gata sangasya, that gone away, the attachment, the associations have gone away, or whose association is liberated, means the sangha is gata, means has reached the level of realization. These are two interesting complementary meanings. So that means that one should associate either with liberated person or try not to associate at all. And who whose consciousness is firmly established in knowledge, which is also very important. Jnana. Oops, there is one N too much. Jnana vastita cetasa, whose consciousness is firmly established in knowledge, worships Yajna, Vishnu, in practice through his actions, because all his actions become devotional service. That means that he works in a spirit of sacrifice. The entirety of his karma, reactions to actions, is thus destroyed. Is this verse clear? There are several layers of meanings here. But they're all, Okay, sacrifice, the original meaning of sacrifice means to make sacred. Sacher facer from Latin means to make something sacred, consecrating. Okay, making something spiritual, giving a spiritual meaning to things. Now, unfortunately, due to Abrahamic influences, the idea of sacrifice has become something more negative, like in mortification. So one should deprive oneself of healthy pleasures and should renounce everything, just, torturing himself. That's called sacrifice. I will not eat this, I will not do that, But that is not the point. We should only abstain from things that are bad for us. Not things that are good, but we abstain from that because we reject the pleasure. This is very, very tricky, because Vedic knowledge, Vedic society, Vedic culture doesn't condemn pleasure in itself. Pleasure or kama is one of the four main purusharthas. Now, sense gratification is condemned in the sense that we condemn the attachment to sense gratification, not sense gratification in itself. Because sense gratification is healthy, is required for our body and our mind. Because if we don't do sufficient, it is like salt. If we don't do sufficient sense gratification, our bodies and our minds will not be healthy. We will start developing problems. In the Yoga Shastra, it is said that the yogi should not fast. Because when you fast, when you don't eat, when you don't have, a healthy sattvic measure of sattvic sense gratification, you get sick. The mind gets sick. The body gets sick. Now, the problem is that we should not be attached to sense gratification. Because when we are attached to sense gratification, we confuse the Preya and Shreya. And we only want to do what appears to be pleasing, what appears to give us gratification. And we don't do the difficult things, the things that we need to make an effort for, which is wrong, because our duty is also made of things that require some effort. Not just things that come to us easily, especially in Kali Yuga. It's like physical training. Physical training should not leave you destroyed and, aching with broken ligaments, because it is a punishment. You have to punish your body with physical exercise. No. Physical exercise must be susukham. Comfortable enough, pleasurable enough, but of course you need to, push yourself a little bit to improve. because otherwise we never improve. Otherwise we become lazy. If we don't make an effort to improve ourselves, we tend to become lazy and to, become degraded. So instead of improving, we go down. But the Abrahamics have a different idea. They believe and they teach that sense gratification is demonic. The body is sin. The body is disgusting. We should destroy our body. We should punish our body. But this, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is explaining that this is how the Asuras think. I think 18th chapter, Krishna is saying the austerities that cause suffering and damage the body are influenced by tamas, and they're actually asuric, because by causing pain to our body, we are actually trying to cause pain to the Paramatma. So you see the difference. Sacrifice in Abrahamic terms means suffering. You have to deliberately cause suffering. So they have the animal sacrifices, the human sacrifices. They think it's godly to cause suffering. You see how distorted it is. Sacrifice actually means, here in Bhagavad Gita, means making all our actions sacred, because we are performing our actions for the benefit of the Virat Purusha, of Virat Rupa, the universal community, for the benefit of all, not just for our selfish, temporary, material benefit. You see the difference? So if the work is done in a spirit of sacrifice to worship the Virat Purusha, Virat Rupa, Yagya, then our karma is destroyed. There is no, we are not affected, we are not touched by karma. You understand? Then, you wanted to say something? No, okay. It was just the microphone. Okay. No problem. So, if everything is clear here, we can proceed to the next one. We can move on. 24. The purpose of such actions is transcendental. The offerings are transcendental. The fire is transcendental. The act of offering is transcendental. The goal to be attained is transcendental. And the consciousness is transcendental. This is a verse that Orthodox Brahmanas are supposed to chant before they start all their pujas. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagna Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Because all these activities is duties. Because, for karma, the Karma Kanda section of the scriptures defines the dutiful action, the duties, not, reactions to good and bad, whimsical action. We're talking about the duties prescribed in the Shastra, which are, the greatest religious duty is the performance of one's professional duty. That is the first karma, the first duty. Do your job properly without expecting anything. So everything should be offered to Brahman. By knowing Brahman is the sum total of all existence, the sum total of all consciousness. So all beings together we're all Brahman. Everything that exists. All our activities, our religious rituals, our professional duties, our family duties, and everything should be performed in a spirit of offering them to the Brahman, to Vishnu, in devotional service. Not to get something in return, but because it's our duty. We are doing what is right. We are fulfilling our purpose in life. Is that clear? So this level of Brahman is transcendental, because the Brahman transcends the Varna, Ashram, and Dharma. And Krishna has said it. Krishna will say it. Although I have in chapter 4, although I have created all the Varnas, I am not bound by them. The Brahman is not limited by the 4 Varnas, the specific duties, the rules, the regulations, etc. It's not like that. So Brahman is transcendental. So everything we do in our duties, in our relationships, in our work, and so on, we should always remember to remain on the level of Brahman, for ourselves and for others. In this way, we'll never make any bad karma. Because it's not for us. The karma, the reaction to actions only happen when you have ahankara mamatva. You don't have ahankara mamatva, you just perform your duty as a sacrifice, a sacred action to the Brahman. There's no reaction, no bad, you're not bound. Is that clear? Oh, fantastic. Okay, let's go on. Then we have 25. Oh, okay. This is all the list of the different types of yagya. We are talking about yagya, sacrifice. Some yogis perform the yagya by perfectly worshipping the devas, like the karmakanda rituals. Others perform sacrifice in the fire of transcendence by offering sacrifice itself as sacred action, as an oblation. So this is sannyas. At some point, through the Varna system, Varna Ashrama system, one is supposed, first ashram as a brahmachari, one is supposed to learn how to perform the rituals. In the Grihastha ashram, one is supposed to perform the rituals for the benefit of the family and society. In the third stage, one starts to give up the mechanical, the physical rituals by turning the consciousness to the Atman. So it's because the purpose of all the activities is transcendence. A vanaprastha and then a sannyasi offer the ritual activities more directly to Brahman, because they sacrifice the sacrifice to sacrifice itself as an oblation, in the fire of transcendence. It means in the fire of Brahman, the consciousness. Is that clear? So gradually, tell. Yes. Okay. You know that you heard about the vanaprastha stage ashram of life. Okay. Okay, the Karma Kanda scriptures, they teach Panchasardhvam Vanambrajit, which nobody's doing, but it's okay, because it's Kali Yuga, what you want. So, after the age of 50, Panchasardhvam, Vanambrajit, one should go to the forest. That is why it's called Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means literally someone who lives in the forest. Now, there are no more forests. Okay. But even if there were forests, or instead of the regular forest, you can go and stay in a pilgrimage place, or whatever, on the mountains, even if there is no forest, But you should stop having a social life, because you start focusing on the consciousness, your own consciousness, because everything is there. Your consciousness, the Atman, is transcendental. Atman is Brahman. Now, during the Grihastha stage, you offer sacrifice to Vishnu through the Devas, through the ritual ceremonies. Because you need the prasad, to give to everyone. You need to feed everyone. In the Vanaprastha, you don't need to feed anyone. You just need to feed yourself and not give too much importance to the feeding also, because if you live in some place like the forest, you can find your food quite easily. If you don't need to entertain, you don't have a family, you don't have a social life, you can eat very simply. Personally, I cook once every 2 days. More or less, so I don't, in a house, in a Grihastha ashram, you have to cook 3 times a day, every day, in a Vanaprastha ashram, you have fruits, you can roast some roots, like roast potato, you have chips, potato chips, They can sit there for a couple of days, it's not a problem. So you can still offer them, if you do any idea of everything. But in general, fruits, leaves, milk, water, roots, fruits, flowers, milk, water, and leaves are sufficient. You don't need to offer them in a yagya, because you're not killing anyone. You understand? When you eat grains, cereals, dal, and everything, you are killing the seed, because you are, cooking the seed and crushing it and eating, So you're killing the seed. But if you eat the leaves and the fruits, you're not killing the plant. So there is zero karma. You don't need to do all the, all the ritualistic ceremonies to become free from your debts, karmic debts. So instead of doing a lot of ceremonies and pujas and everything, you can just meditate on the Brahman, Atman Brahman. This is performing sacrifice in the fire of transcendence. Transcendence means Brahman. Brahman, he's calling Brahman. Paryupasate, Brahman. Agno apare yagyam. Brahman. Brahma Agno, in the fire of Brahman, in the fire of transcendence, in the fire of consciousness, in the fire of the Atman. And what you offer sacrifice itself. You offer all your activities, all the things that you are doing and you're not doing. The purpose for doing and not doing things becomes the focus, the fire. The word focus also comes from the word fire, you know. So in the focus of Brahman, because you are so established, so firmly established on the consciousness of Brahman, you don't need to do anything. And the oblation is the offering, because you are offering your life itself in the fire of Brahman. You follow, you understand. Is it clearer now? Excellent. Excellent. So, yeah, because there are different ways to perform sacrifice, to perform yajna. The next verses will also expand on that. You know, they will also expand on that. So, like for example, verse 26, other yogis, other people, offer the activities of the senses, such as the hearing, etc., in the fire of regulated activity or abstinence. You remember there is a beautiful prayer by Adi Shankar in the Sundarya Lahari that says, "May every step I take be a pradakshina offered to you. Every gesture I make, may it be a sacred mudra for your worship. Every morsel of food I eat be an oblation into your sacred fire." This is the point. You know, Dharma Pancharatra is defining bhakti as serving God through our senses. Rishikesha, Rishikena, Savanam, Bhaktir, Uchati. So we can sacrifice the activities of our senses by offering them mentally through the consciousness to God. So whenever we use our senses, we think of God and we offer that activity to God. Because God is ultimately the original Purusha, the original perceiver. Purusha means the identity that perceives, the knower of the field, you know, the Kshetragya, right? So the Kshetragya is perceiving things also through our senses. And this is something that you not find in any other philosophy or religion. And it's something, you know, amazingly Vedic, amazingly Hindu, which means whatever happiness you get, it can be an act of worship. This is something that Abrahamics will never be able to understand, because they are constantly restricted by the idea of duality. So they think that God is a person which is totally different, separated from us. God is God and we are we. We are the poor, stupid sinners. No, we are part of God. We are the body of God. So any pleasure that the hand feels, you know, the body feels. But of course, it has to be sattvic pleasure, because if the hand feels pleasure by, you know, shooting the foot, that is not going to work. Because the hand feels pleasure, but the foot is feeling suffering. So everyone should enjoy, not just us through our senses, but all the senses of all the beings should be happy. Sarva Sukhino Bhavantu. What does that mean? With our happiness, with our joy, we support the joy of all beings. Sarva Sukhino Bhavantu. Rishikesha Rishikena Savanam Bhakti Ruchita. We love God by appreciating what God is giving us and by using it for the benefit of God. And God is all the living beings, Sarva Bhuta, and more. So, how many times the Bhagavad Gita is repeating one should work for the benefit of all beings? So many times. So many times. There is no point in trying to make ourselves happy or God happy if for that we are giving suffering or damage to the other beings. This is something Abrahamic cannot understand, because they believe that God wants them to give suffering to the other beings. How they can understand this? How can they understand that we can make God happy by making everybody happy in a sattvic way? But yes, we can feel ourselves. We can feel ourselves. Like, for example, you love someone, and you give him some gift. The happiness that you're feeling by giving a good gift and the person is appreciating the gift is the greatest happiness you can feel. Why? Because at that moment God is happy. You are tapping into the happiness of God. Because God is everyone. God is everything. God is in everyone. Just saying gita. I'm in everyone. Everywhere. This is the meaning of omnipresence. Abrahamics cannot understand omnipresence. They cannot understand transcendence. They cannot understand omnipotency. They cannot understand eternal existence. Because their so-called God is nothing of that. So this is important. This is important. And I don't know, I've always hoped to make a series of meetings with people, with Hindus especially, Indian origin, but any Hindu will do, talking about, Abrahamic religions, dismantling Abrahamic religions, so that they can see how much better Hinduism is compared to the Abrahamic religions, and they will be able to wash away all the Abrahamic contamination that has been creeping into Hinduism, because that is really choking the entire idea. So, any question about that? I hope I'm not too heavy here. For some people, we are just talking about ideas. We're not talking about people. Not all the ideas are equally valid. If we give too much respect to some idea or even some person who's not actually qualified, we are actually offending the ideas that are really qualified, because we are putting them on the same level. So anyway, let's continue. I think we have come to the proper time. But let's finish all the different yagas. Others offer all the activities of all the senses and the activities of the prana,
And the oblation is constituted by the control of the self in the fire of yoga in the light of knowledge. So this is again yagya. So, cultivating the proper knowledge through yoga. So we have the nadis, the pranas, 28. Others sacrifice their wealth or perform austerities as a sacrifice, or engage in yoga as an act of sacrifice, or perform sacrifice by the study of the scriptures and the cultivation of knowledge, or by engaging in strict vows. So, offer their wealth, perform austerities, engage in yoga, or study the scriptures, or by engaging in vows. So others sacrifice the apana in the prana, like pranayama, and prana in the apana, controlling both prana and apana. This method is called pranayama. Others sacrifice the prana into the pranas by fasting, suspending breath. However, all these are known as acts of sacrifice that cleanse the person from the negative reactions of actions. Or also the meaning is one who knows about these sacrifices purifies his negative reactions through the power of sacrifice itself, which are two slightly different levels of meaning, but they go to the same direction. And we can probably stop here. What do you think? 31.
We did another 10 verses today. Okay, so we'll go on from 31 next time. Thank you. And